hop into the stream,
There's no
y'all.
hopping here.
Let's get started. Let me give you all a second.
Dude, I've had my windows open ever since it got cold, and like it can get real cold when the weather drops. It was like 58 degrees in my house the other day. I was like, no, it feels good. Makes me feel alive.
We've been getting down low lately.
Yeah, I was in the 30s. I had to put all the
Yeah,
fucking
the 30s.
styrofoam on my outside faucets and stuff.
All right, so
we're back. Oh,
now that we have had a moment on this fight, I think it would be useful for us to double back a little bit on our prep because we were struggling a bit in the intermission. So I just want to go over intermission really quickly before we step forward. I'm hoping to introduce P3 tonight as well, but we'll see what we've got time for and what discussion allows. But for intermission, the main thing we're struggling with actually is we're just getting hit by the slices. So some of that is a little bit of respect for the edge. It's just bigger than it appears when it goes off. Second thing, though, is that I think we just don't have a good grasp on when we should push through and when we need to stop. So I'm hoping to solidify that now. So let's watch this guild in real time do it, and then see how it's handled from red side here in melee.
Spread out. Go left. Red is way off.
So they go left here, and then they pause, right? This, you wait, then you go soak.
Ready for the dip.
Then they do their dip,
Dip in.
and then they go.
Right.
Now, is this a push or is it a pause?
Way in the
It
back.
is.
It's just me that
It
looks
is a
like
pause.
Happy for me.
You pause just a little bit there. Oh, am I streaming
The
in?
video looks like shit.
Hold on here. Let me see if I think I might be streaming in.
Like OBS or something.
No. That must be a Discord thing. There's nothing on my end that's... Oh, actually, maybe it's because WoW's still up. Let me try exiting WoW.
Yeah, like we're getting the warning saying you're getting reduced quality.
Okay, that's got to be Discord's end because there's nothing on my end that's doing anything different than usual. Let me double check. Yeah.
There, your little bad symbol went away.
Okay. Maybe it was WoW running and it just took a while to catch up. Okay, so let's go back here and we'll watch that again.
Spread out.
Okay, so they have their starting spots and they go left.
Weird.
And then they pause, right?
it's fun.
Ready
And
for the
head
dip.
forward. They soak and then they dip in. So the first one's a pause.
Go right.
Second soaks after we go right is a bit of a pause here, right? Look, you need to stop and then they can go.
Soak and spread. Soak and spread.
But
soak
this
and
one, this last one I believe is a push through. So they wait and they go.
hit the bus. 60,
But I believe,
50, 40.
yeah, they can push through here. So they push through on this very last one. So it's pause, pause, push. Let's just watch that again real quick. Yeah, he's counting.
Back to your camps.
Go forward, dog. Even more.
Spread out. Go left. Red is way
Go
off.
left. Let's pause this first pause.
It's fun.
Ready for the dip.
And then you dip left.
Dip in.
And then go right.
Go right.
There's a demonic lure.
And then it's second and final pause. You pause here. And you soak. And then you just stay in this pie slice that you soaked in. You just chill.
Run slow
And then go right.
hit the bus. 60,
And this is a push. You don't stop here. You just keep going through. And this is symmetrical. It's identical on both sides, whether you're police cars or fire trucks.
Is that one always the push, or is it dependent on if that's the last slice or not?
I think it's always the push. This is always the same. The phase is always same and symmetrical.
So the target's 3 max.
Yeah, we were getting 4 like every time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, since we were having deaths and we did not have full people up really ever, and there was a lot of panic and people getting hit and like running back, and yeah, we'll be able to push that for sure. There were some schools of thought to hold even more, but I don't think that's going to be necessary for us at a 3-minute 40-second
Dude, I just
timer.
killed some guy named Godspeed on this game. Sorry.
what the hell? Okay. All right. Cool. You were paying attention to that, right? Okay. Because you were the one struggling with intermission the most. You were getting knocked around. All right, I'll take your silence as a yes. All right, so as far as phase 2 is concerned,
Yeah, I have another one more for intermission.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you have us at moon, and then for some reason you moved us to diamond. Is there a reason we have to switch over or move over?
No, you don't have to move ever. You just circle around moon the whole time.
One of the images later on is us on diamond.
Oh, yeah, that's
that
because
one.
yeah. So that it's still the same spot, right?
Okay, yeah, I'm just confused. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Thanks for looking into that, Ziddy. But yeah, it's just the same spot that you go out to there. These marks are actually wrong on the planner as well from what we were running in game, but even in the center ones. Good call. Okay, so let's talk phase 2 a bit. Phase 2 actually is easier than phase 1 by quite a bit, as long as you understand the web vortex and then the dispels. There's not too much to it. The dispels, it's just you got to remain calm, keep comms clear so that I can call the dispels. The tendency is to freak out and yell something in the middle of the dispel calls, and then people lose track of the dispels. So keeping our comms clear there is going to be what's going to be key, I believe. And then, just the web vortex rules. We didn't quite get to the point where we were executing this perfectly, it felt like. So we'll go over web vortex here in a second. I think actually, since we've been over it before, what did you have something you wanted to add, Banna?
Oh, for the dispels, could we go like a 2-1 dispel instead of like a 3-2-1? Because I felt like we were running out of time when we actually had enough people to dispel.
Yeah, I can always adjust that. Yeah, for sure. It just we'll have to adjust and depend. It'll depend on how quick we are with the first one and how we react. For sure. Most guilds go with a 2-1 system. Okay, so P2, we start off on opposite sides of one another, right? And then you've got the web vortex. Now, think of this however you will, but the first team that gets gripped and it's RNG splits, right? And they'll go left and right, and you have an assignment on whether or not you're going left or right in the ERT note, and it's also in Discord, so you should know and have it memorized whether you're a left or right gamer, depending, if your group gets pulled in first. So make sure you have that memorized. That's your homework. You want to know which one that you are. In this case, this is a case where blue was here and blue got pulled in first.
All right, let me get that new bacon blaze burger combo.
What?
Can you do a Sprite with no ice?
Oh my god, dude.
I
got him.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I've got that captured on recording too forever. That's amazing. Okay, so yeah, if you are gripped in first, you go left and right. The second team will go second. So if you pretend you're blue team right now, you're the police cars, you're over here. you are getting gripped first in this example. So you got gripped, you left behind your orbs, you dropped your orbs when you got gripped in, and then you go left and right. Nice little spread here so that the red team can soak that. And then red team got gripped second and then ran straight through. Second team is always straight through. First team has either left or right. And so once you get that, it's not a lot of time that you have. So the first team needs to definitely clear out and just like bolt either left or right away. You can't just sit there in the middle of the boss and think about it for a second. You've got to already know.
Do we have movements planned for that or no?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of worried about like because the red team has me and Mux. We have like both shaman.
We should be able to.
I'm sorry,
That-
I accidentally clicked that.
You're good.
We should have. Well, you can put the Windrush right in the middle, right? Because that's where everybody's going.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. So 322 Web Vortex is Muck on the first one.
Yeah.
And second one is Ubuckus on the first phase.
Yeah.
And we also have Bana actually sending a roar on the first one as well. And
Copy that.
okay, and then Vaskin and Bana are in the intermission on assignment there.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
We never made it to the second one, so my thing never popped up.
Aha. Yep. That's good. So yeah, Muck knows that he is on first, sending that Windrush under the boss because yeah, it'll catch everybody since we're all getting gripped right to the center of the hitbox. That'll work. Now, dispels. So the key, like I was saying before, and I just want to reiterate it, I do think that we lust right after dispels get started, so like after the first one, and I'm not going to call that because I'm busy calling the dispels and the countdowns, so you're just going to need to know and do it, is targeting the long skinny boss, because after the first dispel, you're already doing 20% increased damage to the long skinny, and every dispel after that stacks up 20% more until it gets to 100% during the stagger. So you target him because, well, you want to do more damage, right? Because there's a stacking debuff. But then
One question with that.
Yeah.
With the dispels, what's the timing cadence like from the first dispel to the last? Like how much time elapses?
3 or 4 seconds between each one.
Okay, so it's going to be like 12 to 15 seconds before we're fully amped.
Yeah, fully amped. Yep.
Okay.
It'll be about that. So yeah, somewhere after the first and like but like around the second.
Yeah,
I
some
think
people
it's
probably
fine.
won't want to pop cooldowns to like the full if you're like completely front loaded and don't have ramp time.
Yeah, that'll be something
It'll be
that
like a weird personal thing. Yeah. Okay, cool.
you want to figure out for yourself. But since damage doesn't matter too much on this fight, it's not a huge deal. But optimizing the vulns is definitely helpful. That'll be helpful to us reaching it, also being able to kill it even with people dead. So you also target the bus because you know which area is off limits, right? Like if you look at the hitbox when it's targeted, you know you should not be in that hitbox unless your name is called. So you just run, if this is you just run to the center of the hitbox, get dispelled, and then run back to your team. So in and out, and then same thing if you're here, in and out. And so that should be relatively simple, I would think. Now after the dispels, we set up on red and blue. Depending on which side we end up on, you might not be on your corresponding mark, but red and blue is what we set up on. And then there's a frontal on both sides. There's a blue and red frontal. So we dodge left for this one to the other mark. And then once that frontal happens, then we have a translate that needs to happen. So the long skinny will teleport, but it is completely random where it's going to teleport to, right? So we've done one web vortex into dispels, into the vulnerability, and now we've rotated, and we're looking to set up for the next web vortex into dispels to finish off the phase. So this would be an easy one, right? Because if he teleports to either one of these sides, we can just translate, parallel. But what if he goes, oh my god, what if he goes top to bottom, right? Now we have a decision to make. So if he's like in this stacked position, either here or here, so we have a convention for this. So red goes right, blue goes left, always in this case. So blue team would have to book it here because we have a web vortex coming up. This guy's going to suck us in, and we cannot stay in this stacked format. So red needs to clear out and get the heck out, and blue needs to book it as well so that they can get as far over as they can before they get gripped. And
Hey, Cole.
yes, sir.
I see what you're saying when you're looking at it top down like this, but when I turn my character around,
Yeah,
and I'm facing the boss, and I'm in,
You're
let's say, red team,
you're facing this guy. Yep.
I like it's actually flipped, right? So red team is actually going.
Nope.
Am I crazy? No, don't mind me. Don't mind me.
Yep.
No, that's right.
Yep. Yeah, this is correct the way it's diagrammed out.
And
So
it's time for me to go to bed.
it's
On the drags.
we'll get you there soon. So yeah, so it's when you're targeting the boss, and this is good that you even brought it up though, War, because we have these issues rampant in our raid. Is if you're targeting the long skinny, it's from your perspective as you're facing the long skinny, because we're always following him as he teleports around. We have to follow him and bring the big boy to him, which makes sense if you're thinking about it from a DPS perspective. So we follow and target this guy, and then we watch, and the convention is red right, blue left. Red right, red RR, blue left LL. It's a stretch, but it should be fairly easy to remember. Cool. And then once we do this one, then there is a pull in. So let's say this is red getting pulled in first, leaving behind this time, just for an example. Notice if you're a right gamer, you will get pinned against the wall here a little bit, but that's okay. You'll have plenty of room and plenty of time to get over and soak the blue orbs after you snap your webs. Always want to snap your webs in this phase as your first priority after you get out of the middle. So number 1, get out of the middle, left and right. Number 2, snap your webs. Then number 3, come over and soak and get on this side. So this web vortex is not done in the middle, but it's done on the wall somewhere. And in this example, it's here.
Question. If you're a second team and you're running through, should you also like run through and to the right and through and to the left at pre your assignment to try to break your web faster, or not worry about it and just get all the way across and then break?
Yeah, I would say breaking your web would be
Like secondary priority.
Would be once you get out of the middle, out of this purple, breaking your web is actually higher priority than soaking for the second team as well. Because you've still got 15 seconds at this point to snap your web and come back and soak these. There's tons of time.
So does it make more sense to go out like at a diagonal to break your web because no one should be there? Like if you go out diagonal right and left, like the first team should be going the other way anyway, so it should be like safe.
Yeah, I think you'll have to see the pattern of how the orbs are and split the difference. The ideal.
I mean, like we're already split in half, right? Like right and left anyway.
Oh, so you could just memorize and go.
You just know,
here.
like if you're always the right guy, you either go hard right or you go like through and right.
Yeah.
To break faster,
it won't.
Or does it not matter? It's just like damage from the web that's like not consequential because there's not a lot going on at that point.
Yeah, I mean, breaking the webs is very good. I would say breaking the webs is a bigger priority than soaking, but you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. In this case, because if you imagine you get pulled in here and you're running out this way, you can probably pick up most of these orbs on the way out. Depending on your trajectory and where you are with your group person. You could go like you suggested in the organized fashion, right? Because we are already assigned a left and right. So even if you get pulled second, you could go left and right. But
even if you got like a 45-degree angle, like out, because you'll snap like before you get out of the purple.
Yeah, as long as you don't run into the red team, because red team is also doing the same thing, right? They ran out, but they might still be webbed together like this half, and so some of the red team may go this direction.
Isn't that team like, so I'm glad you said that, because isn't that team not supposed to go out backwards? Like you let your person go towards the ball, you never go the other way. Like that's what the video said.
You could.
Where it's like if both of you are on the same side and you're not snapped, you let the person go to the ball just break it. Like you shouldn't run the other way too, because that's going to make you further away from soaking the balls and be in bad spots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could just plant and let like the faster person go.
The faster person or the melee person go.
Yeah, that's a good convention there. But either way, you've got somebody here that's kind of close, right? So if you're running out at a 45, like it maybe can get a little dicey. Yeah. So I don't know. That's the insta kill, so you definitely want to avoid that. I would say you go out and then you can split up and then come like back
swerve,
and soak.
Like a soft turn.
Whatever.
Like you're making a right turn at a light, not like a 45 degree.
Yeah, like all swirly. Yeah, something like that maybe would be ideal. We'll get enough pulls on it that you'll be able to feel it out, but yeah. So what I've also found on the web vortex is, let's say I'm on the red team, we get a little lost as far as once we go left and right. Now where do we go, right? We snap our webs, we're left and right, now where do we go? You always go to soak the orbs, right? So you go to the opposite color, so the team would converge and be here afterwards. So that's what I tried to outline with these arrows. So we would do that. So I saw that a little bit so that there's no confusion. You always reconvene on the opposite orb side because that's where you're just going to go soak anyway, right? Cool. So as is tradition, right after Web Vortex, we have Dispels again. This time, 2 of the Dispels will be on the long skinny on the wall, whereas the next 3 Dispels will be here. So basically, what needs to happen here is, we're fighting this guy, we're dispelling on here, 1 and 2. If you're ranged, you can kind of start cheating towards the middle if you want while we're doing the Dispels, especially if you're not, assigned to one of the Dispels 1 and 2. If you're the 3rd Dispel person, which you'll be able to see that because you'll see on yourself that you're number 3, as long as you have your weak aura set up properly, you can actually get to the middle. Like, let's say I'm a red person, I can come stand here in middle, and this guy won't even be here yet. There won't even be a guy. We're just doing the Dispels here, the first 2, but you can screw off and just get over here and be ready. And as soon as he teleports to mid, then we can do a Dispel there. So we'll translate just like we would any other time and just go here for the 3rd Dispel, then 4, and then 5 gets done here. And that's it. That's P2. So it's just a, as far as the cadence is concerned, it is a web vortex into Dispels, and then we rotate around dodging frontals, we find the long skinny, we go to him, and then it is a we go to him, and then it's another web vortex into Dispels. So it's just 2 sets of web vortexes into Dispels, and then we are into the intermission, the 2nd intermission. That's the whole deal right there. Cool.
And it's all time based. Like you're never gonna push because of damage, right?
No, that's not possible. Boss will probably, I think the push is at 20%, and most guilds push these 2 bosses at 40-ish%.
Okay, cool.
That killed it. So yeah, no hold damage.
Does the boss teleport after 2 Dispels, or it teleports at a certain time and you want to make sure you get the 2 Dispels off?
That's timed, yeah, but there's enough. I think it's like 10 seconds or whatever that he's here on the wall, so that's enough time to do 2, pretty much in all cases. But yeah, that one is timed. Good call. Cool. So, intermission, let's see, how much time do we have? Let's go over, I don't want to do too much more for retention's sake, so we won't get to phase 3 just yet. We'll go over that next week. But let's go over intermission 2. There's not much to say here, because as far as planning, this is just don't get spiked, basically. And we are rotating around anti-clockwise, so you are always dodging anti-clockwise. the teams always mirror one another, so the opposite team needs to book it, so do you to match. So you got to be aware of what the other team's in. So in this case, red team, the fire trucks are in hell, right? Because there's all these spikes, but blue team doesn't have any necessity to move. They still should move, though, to mirror what red team's got going on, right? So you still should move and match them, regardless of what's going on for you. So you want to kind of just be aware of what's going on the opposite side of the boss a little bit. Both teams want to rotate anyway, right? Because you just dropped orbs. So it's just like the other intermission. You just dropped orbs and you do that in increments and then you move through. Let's see if we can get the guide set up for this. I believe, yeah, it's right about here. And let's have him talk about it a little bit.
And blue players will start on triangle marker. These markers are between our blue and red markers. During this intermission, players once again rotate counterclockwise to soak orbs on the other side while dodging rings of spikes. The launch of patch 11.0.5 caused these spikes to become desynced from their animation, but this issue seems to have recently been fixed.
God,
However,
that's
it
so
doesn't hurt to
bad.
play this phase as safe as possible. There is no rush to soak orbs here. It's perfectly fine to delay soak.
So they actually kill this boss even though this guy gets spiked way out in the middle of nowhere and fails to soak the orb. So it's pretty straightforward, but the thing that he said there that I talked over is that this one you don't hold. So basically you just dodge and you always dodge to the right and you just blast the shield whenever you can. You don't You don't need to like hold DPS ever at this point in the phase.
So just blast the shield and finish it whenever possible.
So yeah, intermission 2 is relatively simple in terms of setup, so there's not much to teach you there. It's just execution. You need to dodge and just watch the spikes and make sure you don't go there. As long as you are always moving right, I would say the key would be to play it patiently. So if you need to stop for a little bit and wait for the spikes to go away before you move, you should probably do that, because 20 seconds to get around to the other side of the boss to soak is a very long time.
What causes the orbs to go? Which ability? Is it like whenever he does like his recycle thing?
That's a good question.
Is it when he does like the first initial like small one?
Yeah, there's like a burst of AoE that happens.
These markers are between our blue
Intermission 2.
During this intermission, players once again.
It's like an unburrow that you did there.
Whenever the very first little one spawns, I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
The launch of patch 11.0.5 caused these spikes to become desynced from their
And then you
soak. This issue
soak.
seems to have recently been fixed.
No, it's like
However,
slower than
it
that.
doesn't hurt to play this phase
It's
as
just
safe
like
as
out of timer.
possible.
And then
There is no rush
he
to soak orbs here. It's perfectly fine to delay soaking in order to dodge
casts
spikes.
new
There's
ones.
also no holding DPS here.
I don't
It's
see.
just every 20 seconds. Like if you look at the orb countdown bar.
Oh, it just happened, right? It spawned new
happens,
ones.
like, every 20 seconds, yeah.
So there's always an orb up.
In order to dodge spikes. There's
Yep.
also no
Yeah, it
holding
looks
DPS
like it was right on the basically the same timer.
Yeah. Should be good to know, so that way you're not like stacking on people during that one timer if you're running weird.
Oh, true. Yeah, you
how
can
much
watch
time you
that.
Always stay loosely spread. That's never a problem.
Yeah, but when you're cutting across the ring,
However, it doesn't hurt to
True.
play this phase as safe as possible.
you gotta know.
There is no rush
when
to
you can
soak
take it, when
orbs
you can
here.
zap.
3,
It's perfectly fine to
2,
delay soaking in order to
1.
dodge
Like,
spikes.
as soon as you
Orbs.
go
There's
through it.
also no holding
Yeah.
DPS here. So just blast
Cool.
the shield and finish it when
That's a good call, Buckus. I think that'll be helpful for that. So yeah, if we
Not
start
just pretty face.
if we start getting into intermission 2, I'll be very happy this weekend. That would be awesome. Abelard is out. Imper will be filling in for us. Do we have any questions or comments about any of this before we call it a night? Any of this stuff?
Seems pretty straightforward, really.
Phase 2 seems way easier.
Wait, yeah, I was gonna say it's
Once
like
you get your left and right figured out, I mean, I know we struggle looking at our hands in this raid, but
Really, even if you go the wrong direction on your web
As long as you
vortex,
go to
as
the
long
side.
as long as you get the hell out of the middle, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
that's the thing. Yeah, so don't get tripped up and think like, oh, am I left or right? Which way is my left and right? Just go. Like go with somebody, get out of the middle. Because even if I end up with 6 players over here and 4 players over here, that's still fine. Maybe there's more tethers.
Even if you had 10, it's not the end of the world because you have 10 the other way.
Yep.
Like.
Yep.
That's really.
It's really not. It's just an optimization that you're splitting left and right. It's not mandatory. But what is mandatory is get the hell out of the middle, for sure. Yeah, and then so it's always Web Vortex, and then right after we are done with Web Vortex, it's always Stinging Swarm Dispels. That happens like right after we are done with Web Vortex, so you don't get a second to breathe. It's like Web Vortex, break, snap, soak, and we're already in Dispels. We're like in Dispel territory immediately. But we do that twice, and the phase is over. Basically it.
I have a request for the note.
Yes, sir.
Will you put my Poison Dispel Totem at the charge? So I think when they said they wanted it.
Oh, the second charge? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the cooldown on Poison Cleansing
2
Totem?
minutes.
I'm going to stop the recording.